Hey everyone, welcome back to Crime Wire Weekly. And quickly, before we get into the topics for today, do want to recognize, because this is airing, I guess, worldwide as it is, the police ambush in 2016 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 4 officers were killed, 2 others were injured. Amongst those killed, Deputy Brad Garofola, who worked for the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office, Officer Matthew Gerald. He was a Marine who had been with BRPD for only 4 months. Corporal Montrell Jackson, a 32-year-old who had been with BRPD since 2006, and Sergeant Nicholas Touye, who everybody knew as Nick Touye around here, 46-year-old. He actually succumbed to his injuries many years later, 6 years, I believe it was. But unfortunately, he succumbed to those injuries on May 5th, 2022. So we want to dedicate this episode to those fallen heroes. Very somber day that many of us will never forget here in South Louisiana.
Absolutely. I remember after it all went down, I remember the shock of everything, because a guy, if you're not from here, you may not be familiar, but a guy came into town who wasn't even from here, and he decided to open fire on Airline Highway. And these guys didn't hesitate, didn't check up, didn't question it. They flew code en route, responded, and unfortunately they were outgunned in the moment, and they ended up losing their lives. But you can't help but feel and understand that what they did that day when they did take that stand, that they did protect everybody. That was a very, there's a high volume area where that took place. And so them engaging him saved lives, there's no doubt. And after it happened, people were so hurt by it, our community, that they set up this massive memorial there. And just for people to show up and give their lives like that is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a risk officers take every day.
Yeah.
So
we appreciate you, and we genuinely have want to express our heartfelt thank you, and we remember you to friends and family, and thank them again for their service and their dedication.
That's right. And let's go ahead and get into the topics for today. We're going to start out in Louisiana. We've got an update on the landfill search for the Louisiana missing teen that we brought you a couple weeks ago. Actually, we've been talking about this one for seems like several months now, giving you updates. We have yet another update on that. In Nevada, a man kills his ex and leaves custody papers not only on the scene, but in her arms. So we're going to talk about that. In Ohio, a woman's mugshot may just tell the rest of the story. You'll have to wait around to hear that one. A New Jersey sheriff has been charged in the death of 2 canines in that state. We're going to talk about the risk these canines take as well. An ex-con insulted by his ex-girlfriend over an erection retaliates. Yes, he does. So we'll have to get your opinions on that one. A wedding venue owner steals over $1 million from couples. Imagine that happening at your wedding. We've got that story. John Joubert's execution is leading the True Crime Time Machine segment for today. We're going to Argentina for our International Indiscretions segment. Thank you. In Indiana, a man cuts his genitals off to start a fire.
Look, sometimes you need a little extra kindling.
I ain't never needed it that bad. We're going to Pinellas County, where all kinds of wild things happen. To tell you about a text tirade that leads to a woman's arrest. We've got an elderly outlaw segment. We're going to be talking about a Florida man attempting to set his wife on fire. Yeah, a Georgia man mutilates his own eyes. We brought you that story, if I'm not mistaken, when it first broke.
Yeah, it's been a minute for that.
It has been a minute, but he has been sentenced. We're going to tell you what his sentence is. A man has been arrested for kidnapping and hiding a teenager in the dryer. We're going to talk about that. And in Kentucky, a man hides his wife in a freezer for nearly 6 months. And why he did it is interesting. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that as well. So that's what we got coming your way today. Kelly, you ready?
I am always ready.
Well, I'm Jim Chapman, and this is Crime Wire Weekly.
Why can't I be Kelly Jennings as part of it?
Yeah, well, I said, well, Kelly, are you ready?
I don't know. Dang it.
Boy, if I change one thing in this show, y'all, it blows
like mine
Kelly's
cannot
mind.
handle it. What? Don't change
I'm Kelly
things.
Jennings.
I think I'm Jim Chapman.
Let's get into the crime stories for today. And we're going to start off in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the search for the body of 15-year-old Jadarius Manyweather is underway at the Baton Rouge North Landfill. If you'll remember, the last time we gave you an update on this case, they were having to wait and plan to start searching this landfill. They have done that, and they have started the search. It actually began Monday morning, July 13th, after officials met last week to plan the search of that large area where investigators believe Manyweather's body may have ended up after he was killed. Suspect Maurice Parms, 51, is not cooperating with the police, investigators say. Parms is charged with first-degree murder in connection with that case, and officials have narrowed down the location within the landfill. So this landfill is like 400 acres in size. They have somehow narrowed this down through evidence to include 1 acre of that landfill. Still a lot of area, but nowhere near 400 times that, right? Heat obviously is going to present a significant challenge for crews who must search the site while wearing protective gear. So they've got the space suits, y'all. That's what they got to wear because of all the dangerous gases in the air. And also they've got to be very careful of needles and all those sorts of things that are inside these landfills.
And our humidity alone, if you're in a suit like that, if you've never experienced it, my gosh.
Yeah, it's terrible when you're not in a suit like that. You add the suit and it's almost unbearable. Mayor Sid Edwards said it's very difficult. It's not going to happen overnight. A recovery effort of this magnitude takes time. And of course, rain also plays a factor. With the heat we have down here in South Louisiana in the late afternoons, it usually rains. It's pretty typical. That's obviously a time where they would have to stop searching during that rainstorm. The FBI is partnering with the BRPD in the recovery effort, and fire and other officials will also be required to search the site. Officials say the site is an active crime scene and that investigators are working to restrict the airspace over it. Baton Rouge Police Chief TJ Morse said investigators believe Manyweather's body was likely picked up during garbage collection and taken to the North Landfill. Quote, for context, the North Landfill is an active municipal solid waste landfill that covers 400 acres. On average, it receives 1,600 tons of solid waste each day from roughly 325 different collection vehicles. And for those that may need some sort of refresher on this case, Manyweather was last seen in the Baton Rouge area on June 5th. According to the arrest warrant, Parms is accused of stashing the teen's body and disposing of the evidence after the attack. Evidence from police suggests Manyweather was beaten to death. And the warrant says Manyweather had gone to see his 16-year-old friend before he disappeared. Detectives said the friend had been out to get food with Parms before returning to that area, a 16-year-old, mind you. And investigators said a disagreement then occurred between Manyweather and Parms over the way Parms was acting toward the 16-year-old. I can only speculate. It sounds like he was maybe making a pass at this 16-year-old, and young Jadarius didn't like that, maybe said something to him about it, and that's what started the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously speculation because we don't know.
It would 100%, but something occurred there that he didn't like. They got into a fight. He was killed and thrown away like a piece of fucking trash. Pardon my French.
No,
that's what it is.
So, and there's so
disgusting.
There's so much here that I obviously they're going to keep close to their chest because this is an ongoing investigation, and certainly we want this guy to be put away for what he's done. But I would like to hear more sooner than later, just a little more from that teenage female, because she probably is going to give so much insight to what the situation was as it unfolded. But I got to say something real quick. You hear about people volunteering all the time whenever there's a tragedy, with like EquiSearch and all those types of companies that go out there and search for kids and people when they go missing. These people that are volunteering at this site, I think, are very special because this is not just walking through the woods, looking or someplace that's just landscape that you're walking through. I mean, this is a very, very nasty place to be volunteering your time.
Are they volunteers or are they paid?
Well, some of
the
stuff I read said,
I mean, not that it matters.
Right.
It's still, your point still stands.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Well, something I read yesterday had said that they had volunteers. So I don't know what capacity they're in necessarily. They could be just, in other respects that they're doing things. But if that's the case, I mean, being paid to do it's one thing, doing it out of the goodness of your heart and volunteering is another. And so if that is the case, thank you to those people. I know that this family, appreciates all the hard work. But I hope too, I want to say this, I really hope, and I know that they will, but I hope that these charges get upgraded and they keep adding on all of these things, including like abuse of a corpse, and the fact that this man knows exactly what he did with this child and what happened, and he's not aiding in this search for this kid. Mm-hmm. And I hope that this burns him in the courtroom. I hope that this comes back to bite him like it should. You surrounded yourself with teenagers. Obviously, you're hanging out with a teenage girl, which doesn't look good either because you're a grown man, and then you beat to death another child. Like, I'm done with you. And the fact that the family is having to go through this is disgusting, and it's beyond adding insult to injury at this point. So prayers to that mama who keeps, I call her mama, but to the mama that keeps speaking out and saying that they're trying to hold it together.
She's mom.
Well, there's mom. Grandma's the one who was before the cameras yesterday, or a press release that I saw. Oh, okay. And and it seems like she was very, very much in his life. So I just, y'all hang in there, guys, and hope, God's good, and that baby's coming home. I believe that. And so I hope that he comes home soon. All right, let's go to Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right.
A Nevada man who was angry about paying child support to his ex-wife left custody papers on her body after fatally shooting her and her new husband inside a grocery store where they worked. Alejandro Estrada, 43 of Las Vegas, is accused of killing his ex-wife, Amanda Frias Rosas, she's 40, and her new husband, Victor Rosas, inside of Smith's grocery store. Amanda and Victor were not working that day, but they were in the store to buy a birthday cake for her son. And this is the son that she shared with her ex-husband, Estrada. He had turned 12 on the day of the shooting. So not only have tons of lives been destroyed here, but you've now destroyed your son's own birthday. He can't even remember that in a pleasant way. New details of what Estrada did before and after the shooting have emerged in court documents and testimony during a recent grand jury hearing. Estrada told police he shot them both approximately 2 to 3 times, and as they were on the ground, he said he dropped his backpack to retrieve that red folder of documents. He then took it and he tucked the documents into Amanda's arm. Estrada said he wanted police to know, quote, why he did what he did, end quote, as if that justified it, Jim.
Right.
All right. Estrada was arrested by bystanders who wrestled him to the ground in front of the store where he shot his ex-wife and her new husband. In June, a grand jury indicted Estrada on a slew of charges, including 2 counts of murder with use of a deadly weapon, and prosecutors may seek the death penalty against him. Estrada allegedly made arrangements a week or 2 before the alleged shootings, police said, because he knew that murdering people was bad, but he had felt that over the last few years, everything that Amanda had been trying to do with him in the form of obtaining financial support for their children kind of justified his action. Estrada told police he killed Victor Rosas also because he was part of the problem too. That was a quote.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Estrada's roommate, Noel Hernandez, said Estrada was angry at Amanda because of financial issues her request for child support was causing him. He was mad because at that point, whenever he got child support, he was in the process of buying a condo. And when the child support got to him, the loan officer had to stop everything. And he lost a lot of money because he had already put a down payment on that condo. And pretty much after that, he just had hate for his ex-wife over everything, and it just started causing even more of a situation. Hernandez continued saying, by the beginning of May, he told me that he knows that he's going to get locked up because he didn't pay his child support. Estrada told police the financial issues he was facing all came to a head approximately a couple weeks before the shooting, and that he had received another notice that he would be going to court for his children, saying it was at that time, he made the decision that she was going to be a constant nuisance in his life, and so he had to kill her. Estrada and his ex-wife shared their son, who turned 12, like I said, on the day of the shooting. And they have a daughter who turned 10 2 days later. He is being held without bail.
Yeah, a couple things on this. Obviously this was an ugly divorce. Obviously this is not the answer. I felt so horrible for this young lady that if she had to deal with this after she's finally getting away from this guy, imagine what she had to deal with when she was with this asshole, quite frankly. I have a friend. It made me kind of think about this. And he has a child with a ex. Okay, he's married to my other friend now. But anyway, it seemed like every single year he was being brought back to court for increased child support. And it became a big ordeal. And I'm not in any way saying anything to benefit this guy that went and killed these people in any way. What my point is that it makes you wonder at what point it maxes out, like how many, how often are they going to get to go back and up the child support and up the child support? And if that is going to happen, and there are obviously, there's going to be anger issues in all of this, were there any red flags before this that, that maybe the courts could help to alleviate? I don't know. It's a huge question I'm asking here, but it does seem, money and custody are probably the two biggest problems you're going to encounter in court. Yeah. Well, and it speaks to who this guy was, that not only after, he did it, obviously had no remorse for it, so much so that he takes the freaking custody papers and sticks them under her arms after he kills her.
Right. And so
what a jerk.
You're willing to steal the children's mother. You're that angry that you're willing to take their mother for the rest of their life. And now you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
The kids are going to pay the ultimate price here. And then the stepdad, they're just in the store. And to get killed like that's sick.
All right, let's go to Wooster, Ohio. And I'm going to tell you about a Wayne County resident by the name of Brandy Swick. She was arrested following last Friday afternoon's homicide that left a 44-year-old man dead. Now, at 1:42 p.m., Wayne County Communications Center, they received a 911 call from a female who reported a gunshot in a shooting, gave the 911 dispatcher the address, and the 911 dispatcher asked kind of what happened. The caller would not cooperate with that. They wouldn't answer questions, actually, without an attorney present, was their quote. So deputies do arrive on the scene, and they would find a 44-year-old man with a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at that scene. Now, a female who they identified as Brandy Swick, she was taken into custody to be evaluated at a local hospital. She had injuries on her face and arms. So she's now in custody at the Wayne County Jail and been charged with murder. Detectives, along with the Wayne County Coroner's Office, would be seen going in and out of that farmhouse where that shooting occurred. And the man who owned the farmhouse where that shooting occurred said the woman was renting the house and lived by herself, but that the woman's brother would sometimes stay with her in the house. So Smithville Western Care Center would be on brief lockdown as a result of the shooting, and all residents and staff were reported safe. So apparently this was some sort of business / place where you could live. Officials have not released any of the circumstances that led to the shooting, but what really caught my eye on this one was the female's booking photo. It was clear that she had been beaten up. She has two very swollen eyes. If you're watching this on the Patreon right now, you're seeing that. But her face appears very swollen, and it's easy, at least from viewing the picture, to surmise that there was some sort of altercation that she was in the midst of when all of this went down. Of course, no direct knowledge of that, but the picture and her being the one to call police, yeah, I would be real interested to know the rest of this story, because she definitely had both of her eyes dotted, if you will.
Yeah, and you can see across the bridge of her nose, it's blue too. So she's been hit. But they don't mention if she resisted or if she was fighting police, and so we don't even know where the injuries. Details. Yeah, we don't know where the injuries have come from. But what I can tell you is this: if she's been charged with murder, obviously those charges can be downgraded, dropped, whatever. We don't, that's to be seen, but if they arrested her, obviously they have probable cause that she caused the death of that gentleman. Did you believe, because I kind of inferred from that the man that was killed wasn't her brother, it was the guy who owned the home she was renting. Did you believe that?
It wasn't clear either way, really.
Yeah.
A neighbor had said that she had a brother that would sometimes stay there.
Yeah.
But that she was renting that from another person, but it never said who the deceased was.
Right. I don't know why I believed it to be the homeowner for some reason, but I'll tell you this. If she's asking for an attorney on the 911 call, then that in and of itself tells me like two stark things. One, she knows she screwed up and she don't want to say a word, or two, she knows for a fact what's been going on and she doesn't want to mess up, giving this out in a detailed, organized, and legal way and get all the protections that the law can give her. But, a shotgun's a big weapon to pull on somebody.
It is, and any good attorney is going to tell you don't talk to the police ever.
But usually 911 calls aren't where you ask for an attorney. That's not of the norm.
Well, if you were the one admitting that you killed somebody, you might.
Well, yeah, but I can tell you, I've
911 calls are, I need help.
Right.
This person's calling to say, I just shot somebody.
Yeah.
And good attorney would advise you, that's all you need to say.
Yeah, but I'm going to just tell you, if you shot somebody and then you dial 911, oh my God, he's attacked me, I shot him, help. Usually in a genuine, and I've listened to a lot of 911 calls because I taught 911 dispatch for a long time. The just average call that you hear, people are panicked or they're very calm, but I've actually never heard, except for in one occasion, someone say, I don't want to answer any questions, I want an attorney. Now, I have heard people say, just get here, hurry, help, no, come on, and they hang up the phone. Mm-hmm. But to ask for an attorney, that's very odd, and I think that there's going to be more to that specifically. I think that's going to draw a lot of information on that one. We'll see, though. We don't know. But, yeah, look at that photograph if you're watching, because she tore the hell up.
Yeah.
All right, Salem County, New Jersey. A sergeant with the Salem County, New Jersey Sheriff's Office faces multiple animal cruelty charges after 2 police dogs under his care died from hyperthermia after being left inside a hot, unventilated patrol SUV for approximately 7 hours with the windows closed and the engine off. Sergeant Cody Henderson, 41, who oversaw the department's K-9 unit, is accused of leaving the dogs, a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois named Rip and a 6-year-old English Springer Spaniel named Boomer, in his assigned Chevy Tahoe at the Salem City Courthouse. According to the Salem County Prosecutor's Office, the vehicle was parked from about 8:30 a.m. until approximately 3:30 p.m. on a day when temperatures reached in the mid-80s. The SUV's emergency alert system was not activated despite being functional, and indoor kennels were available nearby at the time. Henderson returned to find both dogs unresponsive. He transported them to an animal hospital in Delaware, but they were both pronounced dead. Necropsies confirmed the cause of death was hyperthermia. Henderson was charged with 2 third-degree counts of recklessly causing injury to a living animal resulting in death, along with disorderly persons offenses for animal cruelty, neglect, and unlawful restraint. He has been suspended without pay effective July 13th and is scheduled to appear in court on July 30th. The Salem County Sheriff's Office expressed profound sorrow over the loss of the 2 valued canine partners, each valued at approximately $15,000 apiece. The department has begun the process of acquiring replacement dogs.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
All right. And this is where people are going to come at me, but I'm going to tell the truth and what I really think about it. So, I have a friend who this actually exact thing happened to. Mm-hmm. He was a deputy. He was a K-9 deputy, and his K-9 partner was unfortunately left in a vehicle, and the dog died of a heat stroke. Mm-hmm. Now, was there ever any intent to kill that dog? Absolutely not. Abso-freaking-lutely not. The dog is your partner. You love the dog. However, it's in situations like this that you can't say, oh, it was an accident whenever you've got, I hate to put it this way, but you've got $30,000 worth of police dogs trained, and it says on here that he's the leader. He's the department. He oversaw the department of the K-9 unit. He was at work and he's parked at the courthouse and he forgot the dogs inside. It's either one of two things. He flat out brain farted on an epic level and forgot the dogs inside the car, or he thought, he had it running with they'll keep their dogs in the car and with the air conditioner running, or 2,
For 7 hours, though.
Well, if you are on patrol, that's what I was going to get at. If you're on patrol with your dog, then yeah, your dog will be in the car all day long. But the dog, the car stays running. It's got that safety mechanism in it, and it doesn't say that the mechanism was put on.
But is it going to run for 7 hours?
Oh yeah, So they're going to keep, and they have an alert. That's why they have the alert to let you know, oh my God, your car is getting hot and your dog is in it. So I am inclined to believe, and I know people are going to get mad. I'm an animal lover. I'm the biggest animal lover on the planet. I'm inclined to believe that the dogs were in their kennels. They were quiet. They were in the vehicle. They were asleep. He pulled up. He parked. He went inside, and epic blunder. Epic, and you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to come at you. I think 99% of the people out there probably realize he just fucked up.
Yeah.
He made an absolute mistake. There's no telling what was on his mind that day. He was going into a courthouse, and he was obviously in the courthouse for 7 hours. So he's probably testifying in some sort of case. You would think. It's not like he's a bailiff. He's a canine cop. So.
Right. Unless they have their, we have our sheriff's office.
For something.
Well, how we have our sheriff's office locally is within the courthouse, so we don't know if he was.
We do, but not a canine cop. I mean, these are bailiffs and things that are employed by the sheriff's office. He was a canine officer, so I don't know why he bring 2 canines to work with him at the courthouse and leave them in the car for 7
Well, what's
hours.
odd to me too is that he had 2 canines, and usually if it's an English Springer Spaniel, that's probably like maybe a
drug dog.
Like a drug dog, yeah, like sniffing out drugs or something like that. Now, the Malinois, obviously, that's going to be like a dual purpose,
Right.
most likely. So he's got like an apprehension dog, and he's got a drug. It's odd to me that he had both, but he oversaw the unit. So is it possible that day he was supposed to bring the dogs and, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's not something he normally did every day because he oversaw the unit. It doesn't necessarily say that he was a handler day in and day out with a dog. And the fact that he had 2 is weird to me because you're not going to have 2 dogs, 1 handler.
Yeah.
So something is amiss here that he.
Regardless, he obviously forgot him in the car for 7 hours. It does, the other is just speculating, but I certainly don't think he did it on purpose. I'm sure he didn't, but there's obviously consequences to every action, unfortunately, and that's something you cannot do. So,
I wonder too, and I don't mean to belabor it, but I wonder too, when we talk about animal cruelty, they did say recklessly causing the injury. So it's not like he, intentionally went, hurt a dog. But I do wonder if there's levels, because I don't know off the top of my head, it says 3rd degree counts of recklessly doing this. So I'm wondering if that is the minimum.
I would think 3rd degree.
Yeah, because intent matters a lot.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I mean, if you intentionally leave them in the car, you're going to get a much harsher charge than if it was a sheer accident. I mean, people do it.
Yeah.
People, I read a really sad case a couple of years ago where a guy went to work, forgot his child was in the car, went to work for 7 hours.
And it wasn't.
Came out and his child died of heat exhaustion. And there was no intent there. I'm sure no one felt worse than this guy for this. But there's got to be some sort of repercussion for that, unfortunately.
Right. And the key to that, too, by the way, is that it wasn't his normal schedule, the dad. And I remember that one. And it was that he didn't normally bring the baby to daycare. And so he just got an autopilot and did what he did for the day. Yeah. So no one feels worse, I promise you, than this canine handler does right now. But it's a tough situation, and someone's got to be held accountable.
Well, there you have it. And let's go into Lustful Lawbreakers. All right, so let's go to Pinellas County, Florida for this one. And a Florida man with an extensive criminal history is facing domestic battery charges after allegedly attacking his girlfriend with a pink sex toy during an argument in which she mocked his sexual performance. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. Stephen Nurden, I know it, 38, was arrested following a 1:20 a.m. confrontation at a residence in Pinellas County. According to the affidavit, which I read in full, and it is everything I'm about to describe to you, I bet the officer was just about dying here. The dispute escalated when the 37-year-old victim told Nurden he needed Viagra because he had a limp dick.
Look, okay.
That's probably not what you want to say.
That's not how I would approach it.
Could have put that a little softer for Mr. Nurden.
Is that a pun?
Yeah. So investigators say the enraged Nurden grabbed a pink sex toy from a bedroom shelf, shoved it into the woman's mouth. She also reported being punched in the left eye as she tried to push him away, which we obviously don't condone any of that.
Nope.
When questioned by the police, Nurden claimed he could not remember using the sex toy as a weapon, but did recall the victim punching him in the right eye during the altercation. Nurden was charged with domestic battery, and he is being held in jail in lieu of a $2,500 bond. A judge has ordered no contact with the victim, and Nurden would be required to wear a continuous alcohol monitoring device if released. The weapon, if you will, was recovered by investigators. Ugh. Nurden will be released. Nurden was released from state prison just 4 months ago after serving more than 13 years for armed robbery, aggravated assault, and felonious possession of firearms. So it looks like he is headed back after being involved in this.
I know. And one of my favorite things in his mugshot is it looks like he's got a rosary tattooed around his neck. So he might need to pay a little more attention to that rosary. But of all the things he could have done, I guess getting smoked upside the head with a dildo is better than grabbing a gun. But, if you, dude, you went to prison and you can't take a little insult.
Right.
I mean,
he couldn't take it. He don't like being called limp.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, sir. If you can't handle it, then you need to take a medication. If not, you need to pick your partners better.
Well, there you go. I do want to say before we move on to the next story, I have something I want to mention.
Okay.
So I want to shout out Jackie Duvall and Mimu Mama or something like that. Wama something.
What is it?
Mimo Wama. They are Patreon subscribers, and I ran an ad last week, and that advertisement was a voice read advertisement specifically for product that you can get 30% off on if your listeners. Well, if you listen to Exposed, it's an ad through Exposed, but we don't break these down. We put these on all of our individual feeds. So if it runs on one, it's going to run on all three. But the reason it was ran on that Patreon was because it was a heck of a deal. It was 30% off Cozy Earth, which is bamboo sheets, comforter sets.
Yeah.
I have a set, and they are unbelievable, and they're running this really good deal now. So I thought people may enjoy getting able to take advantage of that. But they did message, and Jackie Duvall said, "What is with the ad?" with like 5 exclamation points.
I love you, Jackie.
And Mamu Wama said, "That's my question. What the hell is the ad?" Question mark.
Jim, you are upsetting my ladies.
I'm not upsetting them. They wanted to know. I'm answering the question.
I know.
So that's what was up with the ad. I was trying to offer that to listeners on Patreon, because if they don't hear ads, and I'm not talking the computerized ads that you hear through like a regular feed, this was a special ad just for the listeners that many of these listeners, I do want to thank the hundreds that reached out and said, "Thank you for doing that ad. We saved money at Cozy Earth." So if you want to save money, go to CozyEarth.com and put in Exposed at checkout. You get 30% off. Thank you so much. Now we can move to the next story.
Okay, yeah. So I know a lot of people, when they get on the Patreon and you hear commercial free, that was actually just something Jim was given as a gift offer type thing. And so sorry about that.
Wasn't really a commercial, just a savings is what that was intended to be. But with what we do with this podcast, the commercial free is Unspeakable and Exposed, not Crime Wire Weekly. That's a bonus we give for free just because you're a member of the other things.
And we
appreciate. So that's where my mindset was.
Yeah. And we appreciate y'all support. Jackie is always messaging with me and Mimu. We love y'all. So thank you and always ask questions if you don't know, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. And we love y'all. All right, let's go to, was it my turn or your turn?
It's your turn.
Okay.
We just did Foolish Felon. We just did.
That's right.
About the sex toy.
You bring up a big old sex toy and I go, wow. Right. Okay.
Your mind's all over the place. Man.
All right. We need to jump into a little bit of our foolish felonry here. And we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina for this one. So the former owner of a popular wedding venue in Monroe, North Carolina has pled guilty to federal wire fraud after admitting to defrauding couples, vendors, and investors out of more than $1 million. Jason Lotman, 43 of Charlotte, entered the plea in U.S. District Court this past Monday for his role in a scheme that targeted those planning weddings and other events at Champaign Manor. Prosecutors say Lotman orchestrated the fraud from October 2023 through January 2025. He allegedly accepted payments from couples for wedding packages and for vendor services, but then he often failed to deliver or pay the vendors as promised. He also solicited investments in the business by making false promises of ownership stakes and guaranteed returns. The scheme left numerous brides, grooms, and service providers such as DJs and florists financially impacted, and some couples were facing unexpected additional costs on their wedding days. Prosecutors say Lotman also continued to take money from couples even after the venue defaulted on its mortgage in 2024 and the foreclosure process had already begun. Myrtle Beach couple Travis and Rochelle Marshall said that they were among those who lost nearly $20,000 to Lotman in his $1 million scheme. The couple shared their story in January 2025, shortly after they learned Champaign Manor had abruptly closed before their wedding day. Travis Marshall said it had been a long and difficult process since digging themselves out of the financial hole. Lotman faces a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison for the wire fraud charge. Champaign Manor, once a sought-after venue for weddings and events, is now under new ownership. The case was investigated by the FBI, and the federal authorities continue to emphasize the importance of due diligence when booking major life events.
Definitely a foolish felon. You can't do much stupider crimes than that. Right?
Yeah. So the thing here is that it seems almost like this was one of those deals where like one person's paying you and you're taking their money to pay somebody else because you're so far behind in everything until finally you just can't catch up and you drown. But you take
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, and you take $20,000 from people planning, and this is one of the biggest days of your life. I just think you take advantage of somebody at that kind of juncture, and then they start off their married life in a financial hole.
Yeah, and that's the problem here is that you're dealing with couples that are getting married. They're just starting out in life, and you're stealing from them. So to me, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
You're taking advantage of people in the event that is supposed to be the most memorable event of their life, period. Weddings, especially for females, right?
Yeah.
That's what y'all look forward to since you're like 2.
Yeah.
And you get stole from, and this is millions, man. This ain't just, this guy didn't do it one time and steal $10,000 and try to get away with it.
Right.
And
something,
definitely foolish.
Yeah. Yeah, and something else to this note is something stinks here about this guy. I have a hard time believing if this had been a very successful venue for a long, long, long time, that all of a sudden he just became a piss poor business owner. So it smells of like, and this is, again, I have no foundation for this other than just experience and things that happen. But it sounds to me like we've got like someone with maybe a gambling problem or maybe a drug problem or something that you would lose. You would not be able to maintain something that's got a long history of being a profitable company that lots of people have gone to over time. Yeah. So something was going on here. And the saddest part of all is that these people will probably never get their money back.
Right.
And he's going to go to prison. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Doesn't do anything for them, does it?
Right.
All right, let's go to the true crime time machine.
Boop.
And we're going to go back to July 17th of 1996. I'm going to tell you about convicted serial killer John Joubert, who was executed by electrocution. Y'all would not believe how hard that is to say. At the Nebraska State Penitentiary in Lincoln. He was just 33 years old, and he became the second person put to death in Nebraska since the reinstatement of capital punishment in that state. Now, his final moments brought to close a disturbing case that had terrorized communities in both Maine and Nebraska during the 1980s. Joubert, who was a former U.S. Air Force airman, was convicted in the murder of a 1983 murder of 11-year-old Danny Joe Eberly and 12-year-old Christopher Walden. And those, very young boys, obviously. Yeah. Both boys were abducted while riding their bicycles, sexually assaulted, stabbed repeatedly, left in remote areas. And Joubert was also convicted in Maine for the 1982 murder of Richard Ricky Stetson, who was found stabbed to death near his home. His crimes were marked by extreme brutality and a chilling level of planning for someone so young. Now, investigators linked Joubert to the Nebraska killings after a distinctive knife mark on one of the victims matched a military knife he owned. He was arrested in 1984 after an intense manhunt, and Joubert eventually confessed to the murders, describing a compulsion driven by fantasies of control and violence that dated back to his troubled childhood. He was sentenced to death in Nebraska and received a life sentence in Maine. And on the night of the execution, he reportedly showed little emotion as he was strapped into the electric chair and his death announced at 12:27 a.m.
Yeah, and if you look at his photo, the one that we have, he just kind of looks like a young punk. But I did a very in-depth episode on this guy. If you are interested in listening to that, it's under the Unspeakable page. It was back in September of 2025 is whenever I dropped that one. I would suggest you go listen to it because it's unbelievable what he was capable of doing and the amount of violence that he inflicted on these children. He was also sneaky and coy and, he preyed. This is a predator, an absolute predator. He preyed on these children and he terrified them before their death. And that makes it even worse, to me, that they knew fear before it ended. So this guy, and he was in the military. That's also how they were able to track him. There was a rope. It's a long story, but you can go listen to it. But horrible case. And they were able to solve multiple murders when some parents didn't know what happened to their children.
Right.
So terrible. But I'm glad he got the death penalty. If anyone deserved it, that was one of them.
Well, happened on this date on the True Crime Time Machine in 2006.
Boop. That was us going out of the time machine. We're back. Okay, let's do some international indiscretions. And this is going to take us to Argentina. A routine flight training session turned into a harrowing ordeal on this past Saturday when an experienced flight instructor jumped from the aircraft mid-flight, forcing his 22-year-old student to safely land the plane by herself. I cannot think of anything scarier.
Gosh.
Oh my God. All right. Leandro Bertazzo, 42, who was a veteran instructor with over a decade at the Flying Parrot Flight School, was on board a Cessna 150 with a student pilot. They didn't give her last name, just identified her as Rosario, when the incident occurred at approximately 850 feet over Toledo in central Argentina. According to the student's account to investigators, Bertazzo calmly removed his headset. He then took off his seatbelt before looking at her and saying, "You know what you have to do, carry on." Then he opened the aircraft door and jumped out. The young woman, who already held a pilot's license, thank God, but was accumulating additional flight hours, managed to maintain control of the plane and executed a safe landing in the airfield undamaged. School officials praised her composure under extreme duress. She was very shaken, but with complete professionalism, she flew the plane to the airfield and made a perfect landing. And that was according to Eduardo Alvarez, who is the director of the flight school. Bertazzo's body was recovered later that day. Authorities are investigating the death as a suicide. Reports indicate Bertazzo had seen a psychiatrist the previous week, though only close family members were reportedly aware of his mental health treatment. No prior warning signs were apparent to colleagues or his employer. Bertazzo was a highly experienced pilot with multiple certifications, including airline transport pilot, which don't you think that means like people, like airport flying? That's scary. I mean, that could have been a massive casualty incident. And he had commercial licenses. He had previously worked as a flight instructor in Chile and was described by those who knew him as a skilled aviator, a respected mentor. He had flown with other students earlier that same day without incident. The flight school and authorities continue to support the student who's receiving counseling following the traumatic event.
Yeah, I've never heard a story like that one. And you're right. I mean, if you're up there, imagine yourself being this student and this pilot just says, all right, you got it, and jumps out the freaking plane.
I'm
and not only is that traumatic, right? You're already traumatized from this occurring. Sad, very sad situation, obviously, when someone does that. But in addition to that, now you've got to land the plane.
Yeah. You could have cost her life.
Oh, 100%. It's a miracle she was able to compose herself enough to even land the plane.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a student.
Doesn't this make you wonder? And again, obviously, I don't know everything, but we have mandatory reporter laws, here in the States, obviously, and like teachers, we have to, we're mandatory reporters. Healthcare officials are mandatory reporters. It makes you wonder if you're seeing a psychiatrist and you're clearly having problems, and then you're in control of like air flight where people's lives like literally are at stake every day. It seems like there should be some sort of mandate there that if they're having some type of mental break.
Well, she didn't know he was seeing a psychiatrist. No. Only close family member. Well, they're not mandated to report.
I know. I'm saying the psychiatrist. Like if you had an airplane pilot who was going to see a psychiatrist and having a mental break and like your family knew it, wouldn't you think somebody should? I don't know if
is a psychiatrist a mandated reporter? I mean, wouldn't that be HIPAA?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say.
But that would be HIPAA law.
I would too. But I mean, I agree
with you.
Yeah. It makes you wonder because you've got everybody's
can do that.
You've got everybody's life at stake. Literally. I mean, and he could.
I think if he knew that situation was going to occur, but I mean,
you couldn't predict it. I'm not saying that. But if you did have somebody that is able to get on an Airbus, have 150 souls in their hands, and he's getting treatment for for a mental issue, it just makes you wonder. Yeah. Because that's scary. You don't know who is flying a plane and what they're what they're going through. You just don't know. And thank God she survived. And it's horrid that he made that decision.
All right, let's go into utterly unrelated. These are stories that, while they're not necessarily a crime, they're interesting. They catch our eye, and we know you're going to want to hear them. And in this one, we're going to tell you about Michael Phillips. If you're not familiar with this guy, Michael Phillips says he has a 0.38-inch penis.
I'm not good at reading a tape measure, but I don't think that's a big number. Right.
And he wrote that he needed a procedure to improve his ability to urinate. The North Carolina man who is apparently made the undisputed claim of having the world's smallest penis is seeking the public support for enlargement surgery. And look, shout out to him for having the balls to do that.
He's got the balls.
He's got the balls. Michael Phillips said online on Thursday he needs the procedure to improve his ability to urinate, which is difficult for him given that he has reportedly such a small penis, 0.38 inches long when fully erect. Otherwise, he must continue to wear diapers for adults with incontinence every day. Is that how you say that word?
Incontinence, yeah.
There you go. This has been a source of daily frustration and embarrassment. When traveling like I do, it has affected my confidence and independence. Phillips wrote this on an online fundraising campaign titled Help Michael Get Micro Penis Enlargement Procedure, which I didn't even know that existed. On the GoFundMe page, Phillips said he had saved up as much money as he could for the cost of the procedure and the injections that could help increase the girth and allow me to use the restrooms more normally. But he said he was appealing to anyone who understands how challenging the situation can be for assistance with this balance. Phillips, 38, said the procedure would not constitute a cure for his micropenis, but that it could be... but that it can mean living with more dignity and independence. I promise I'm not laughing at him. Yeah. He had raised about $12,200 from 190 GoFundMe users during the campaign's first 2 days. The fundraiser's listed goal was $22,000 and reached by text message last Friday. Phillips confirmed he had created the drive, but did not immediately respond to requests for further comment. A GoFundMe spokesman said at the platform that they had verified the campaign. Phillips' fundraiser arrived after he became one of the biggest stories in the world in late February. At virtually the same time that the U.S. and Israel launched war in Iran, he launches this, and he told TMZ he challenges anyone on earth to prove they had a smaller penis than him. Yeah, no one stepped forward, I don't think.
Yeah.
The point of his challenge was to advocate against body shaming for those living with micropenis, an exceedingly rare condition which the Cleveland Clinic defines as stretched penile length of less than 2.67 inches. He said he also wanted to raise awareness for the difficulties of having a sex organ, which in this case is the size of a pinky fingernail when fully aroused.
Oh, bless his heart.
Beside urinary issues, Phillips said it had been impossible for him to engage in penetrative sex in his life, all but erasing his willingness to approach new people, especially females, on dating scenes. Some internet folks have met Phillips' tale with skepticism and questioned whether it was even authentic, but he has evidently transmitted photographic evidence of it, including to unwilling participants. That's right. At one point, a woman posted a viral social media video in which she accused Phillips of sending her an unsolicited picture of his penis while they argued online after he insulted her weight, and she retaliated by taunting his micropenis. This is by far the smallest one I've ever seen, the woman said in the video. I mean, that's all that's childish back and forth.
Right.
Phillips said the woman's video was accurate, yet maintained he only wanted to show her that she should make fun of people and let her see what she's making fun of. I tried to tell her it's a disability and something I have to live with, said Phillips, who also describes himself on GoFundMe as a resident of South Carolina. And he was hoping this would be a teachable moment for this lady. He ultimately said he had previously sent unsolicited pictures to others while drinking, admitting it was stupid for him to do, and said, "I don't do that anymore. I apologize to any woman that I may have offended." So there you have it. The man with the world's smallest penis.
That kind of went
a surgery.
That kind of went a weird direction when I found out he was drinking and sending dick or whatever it is, 0.38 pics. But I got to tell you though, my heart does hurt for him because of anything that a man could be, hit with. That's probably the worst one. As far as your physique goes, like that's unfortunate for him in so many ways. I really do feel bad for him.
It's but I'm sure it sucks.
He's so open with it that it's strange. But I looked up his GoFundMe, and he's raised $13,265. So he's getting there.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I may give a few dollars to.
But if you only have 0.38 inches of skin, how does one acquire more? Do they give you a skin graft from your thigh?
I would imagine. I guess. I mean,
on next week's episode, I'll be going through how
I don't have the answer to that.
Enlarge your penis.
There you have it.
Wow. Okay.
So you learn it all on this show.
Good luck, Michael, with your micro penis.
We're pulling for you, Michael Phillips.
I'm not touching that one. Okay. Let's go to Pinellas County, Florida. A 51-year-old Florida woman is facing felony charges after authorities say she sent threatening text messages to a male acquaintance, including vows to kill him, and claims that she had a gun with his name on a bullet.
Oh.
That just sounds like our regular conversation.
Yeah.
That's how Jim and I talk to each other.
That's right.
When confronted by police, she offered a bizarre explanation for her 3 a.m. tirade, saying, quote, "That's just what girls do," end quote.
Right.
That's what we do, Jim.
Yeah.
We just threaten you.
This
All right.
one.
Tammy Baldino was arrested on Baldino. Ooh, that sounds kind of gangster. Doesn't it sound like it's like in the mafia or something? Baldino.
Sure.
My name is Tammy Baldino. Okay, well, anyway, she was arrested.
Mafia doesn't talk like that.
My mafia does. Say hello to my little
Spanish
friend.
mafia?
Oh my God, she could get Michael's
Cuban mafia?
micro penis in her mafia and she could say hello to my little friend.
We're getting off the story.
Okay. Tammy Baldino was arrested on 2 felony counts related to the threats. And according to police, the victim received messages from her on July 2nd that read, quote, "I will kill you," end quote, and quote, "I have a gun and a bullet with your name on it," end quote. Investigators recovered the text from Baldino's phone, which she said only she used and was the only person in sole possession of. In a separate incident last month, Baldino allegedly sent similar threats to an ex-boyfriend, warning, quote, "I have friends who will end your existence," end quote, and "I know who you are and I will take a shotgun to your looser ass face," end quote. Now, this is where English matters. I just want to interject this. I think she meant to say your loser ass face, but she put looser ass face. So I guess she thinks
spelled it wrong.
His face is loose. Yeah, no one wants a loose ass face, Jim.
Right.
All right. The man told investigators he feared Baldino might enlist one of her drug dealer friends to carry out the threats. Baldino was booked into the Pinellas County Jail in lieu of $20,000 bond. And at the time of her arrest, she was already free on bond in a separate case, charging her with DUI and unlawful possession of nitrous oxide. That $5,500 bond was revoked following her latest arrest.
Yeah. Well, she wonders why she doesn't have any friends. That's a good reason why.
Yeah.
And you can look at her, and if you're watching this on the Patreon right now, she looks crazy as hell. Huh. I mean, look at her eyes, man.
She's wide-eyed. Now, let me tell you, the nitrous oxide.
She got them crazy eyes.
If you're curious about that, that's a laughing gas, how they use it, like whenever you get dental procedures done. But some people might not. They might be goodies. Oh, okay. They might not know this. But if you've ever heard somebody doing whippets or whatever, those are those little canisters you can get at party stores, which I don't condone, and inhale those and get you a nice little high there for a minute or two.
Right. Well, don't send texts like that, even if you're pissed, because it's evidence, right?
Yeah, but like, what are you doing, lady?
She's evidence now.
How old is she? 51. My
51,
God.
But she looks crazy. Y'all got to see her picture.
No wonder
I could have told you that woman was going to send texts like that. I'm gonna
send you those texts later, Jim.
Any other thoughts on that story? Because you didn't really say a whole lot about it.
Well, I think that she's probably an addict and that she makes poor decisions. And then when she doesn't get her way, she threatens to kill you. And then she thinks that it's normal to do that, and it's not. So, I mean, I don't understand what she thinks she's going to get out of that. What she thinks someone's just going to go, oh, never mind. Well,
and it was a male acquaintance. It doesn't even list as her boyfriend. So maybe if you wouldn't, go crazy with the text and talk shit.
Right. Well, and then if she's doing things also like whippets and all that, she might have a little bit of, long-term use will cause mental,
I would imagine. All right, let's go into overtime. All right, and we're going to start out in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we're going to do an elderly outlaw segment, and I'm going to tell you about an 84-year-old man who is facing serious charges after authorities say he doused a car with gasoline and set it on fire while his ex-girlfriend of 42 years was still inside, in what prosecutors describe as premeditated attempt on her life. Franklin Davis was arrested following the incident in Broward County. According to the arrest report, Davis and the victim, whose name has not been released, have been in a long-term relationship. They lived together, but that relationship had recently ended. Deputies said the couple got into an argument in the parking lot of a convenience store, and Davis allegedly poured gasoline from a plastic bottle across the dashboard and front seats of the vehicle before using a lighter to ignite the fuel while both were still inside. The interior of that car quickly erupted into flames. The victim suffered third-degree burns to her left leg, and Davis sustained burns to his hands and face. Both were hospitalized for treatment, and authorities noted that Davis appeared to be under the influence of alcohol at the time. He is facing, obviously, multiple charges, including premeditated murder, arson, and causing bodily harm, and additional counts related to criminal contempt. He remains in custody in Broward County Jail.
If you look at his photo too, you can tell there was some kind of flashover whenever he lit it, because his ears are, he's a black man, but his ears are pink, his lips are pink. I mean, and his eyes swollen up. So that was pretty serious. But I'm going to tell you something. Why did he have gasoline in a plastic bottle? That screams premeditation to me, that he planned to do something.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I don't know if they mean a plastic gas can or if it was a bottle of like lighter fluid. I couldn't determine which it was.
Either way, the fact she stayed in the car tells me it must not have been a big can, because he would have had to get it, watch him douse it. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that she was prepared. All right, 42 years you've been together. I mean, that's longer than most marriages, would last.
Yeah.
And then you want to light people.
You're 84 years old.
Why? And fire? I don't want to be lit on fire.
Short amount of time left. Yeah, fires. I mean, it's horrible.
But he's situation. Under the influence of alcohol, and that causes people to do wild things. And so, either way, I'm glad they both lived. But if he'll light you on fire, he'll probably kill you. So I would say that breakup might need to stay.
Right.
Stay in place. That's crazy. 80-something years old, huh?
84.
Wow. All right. Let's go back to Statesboro, Georgia. Now, we reported on this already, but we have an update for you. So a jury has convicted and sentenced Robert Keller, he's 32 years old, to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the 2024 murder of Bruce Dupree, who was a complete stranger to him, who had stopped to give him a ride or help him out. So Keller was found guilty on all 10 counts, including malice murder, multiple counts of felony murder, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, armed robbery, hijacking a motor vehicle, and weapons charges, following a brief deliberation this past week. Now, the incident occurred on October 14th of 24. This was along Interstate 16 in Bullitt County, Georgia. Dupree, who was 43, had picked up Keller while he was hitchhiking. Authorities say Keller attacked Dupree in a brutal carjacking. He then stabbed him multiple times in the torso, head, hands, arms, and neck, including these deep slashes in the throat. And Dupree was found bleeding on a median, waving for help, but he ended up dying at the scene. Keller stole the vehicle and a cell phone before fleeing, but he was arrested shortly thereafter. But this is where this got even crazier. So while awaiting trial in jail, Keller engaged in extreme self-harm where he gouged out both of his own eyes and bit off part of his own tongue. So investigators said he admitted that the acts were in an attempt to be transferred to a medical facility, I guess, rather than go to jail. But despite the self-mutilation, a judge ruled him competent to stand trial earlier this year. During his sentencing hearing, Keller made a bizarre statement to the court, and this is creepy, okay? He said, quote, "I'm a divine being. I'm here by special presentation and appeared of the entity known as Robert Keller. I would like the ability to be trusted, to tell the truth, but this is not the setting I trust to do so." That sounds like mental illness at its finest.
Yeah.
Judge Matthew Hube sentenced Keller to 2 consecutive life sentences without parole, plus additional consecutive terms of 25 years and 20 years on other charges. The judge described Keller as extremely dangerous and noted that he had taken advantage of someone who was trying to help him.
Yeah, gouged out his own eyes. I couldn't imagine, man. Like, there's no way I could do that.
Do you know how wildly
both eyes.
Crazy? How wildly crazy you have to be to gouge your own eyes out.
And bite half your tongue off.
But you know what? This judge got the last laugh, because now he's going to be sent to a regular medical prison facility where he can't see. You are about to be victimized, my friend. You can guarantee it. You are about to be victimized because you can't
I would imagine they're not going to have him in G-pop if he can't see.
I mean, he could petition to be in it.
How can you function? Yeah, but you can't function. Oh. If you're blind, you can't see, Kelly.
You know what? All I can say is he never saw this sentencing coming.
Okay. There you go.
He deserved it.
Corny joke.
It was corny.
All right, let's go to Indiana.
Okay.
And look, we've been talking a lot about genitals today. Kelly must be obsessed with those today. This is our third story on that.
Why am I
let her
obsessed
do
with
stories this week. So we're going to get a Fort Wayne, Indiana, and a man in Indiana is accused of cutting off his own genitals and using them to start a fire. Christopher Peden. I'm not making that up.
So how does it spell?
And I knew you would laugh when I said it.
How's it spelled?
P-E-D-E-N?
P-E-D-E-N.
Peden. Okay, he's charged with one count of arson, which carries a potential prison sentence of up to 12 years. Fort Wayne firefighters were dispatched to a garage fire, and while at the same time, authorities were called to reports of a stabbing. So Peden told police he was stabbed somewhere downtown and that someone had threatened him that day, the prior day. The day before. So
when he says downtown, does he mean like in the city downtown? Or does he mean downtown?
Downtown Fort Wayne.
I thought he meant downtown like in his pants.
While at the hospital, Peden allegedly told an officer he was dishonest about the stabbing scene and wanted to be truthful. He said that at about 2:00 a.m., he went into the garage and used a kitchen knife to cut off his genitals. Peden said he then poured gasoline on the dismembered organ and set it on fire, leaving the garage and walking away till he found police. While investigating the scene, officials found a gasoline container and 4 lighters as well as the kitchen knife. Court records did not detail whether the genitals were located. Peden is due back in court next week. And no pictures of the suspect were available.
He should have donated it to poor Michael instead of setting it on fire.
Well, Michael's genitals aren't the problem. So
I'm just saying he could have had a transplant. But I don't know. This makes me feel some type of way. Like, I don't know what the feeling is. It makes me like angry and it makes me angry. Like,
it makes you angry.
It makes me angry.
Why?
Why do you cut off your own wiener? Like,
but it makes me like cringe, but it don't make me angry.
Because I don't know why it makes me angry, but like that you did that to yourself, and now the rest of your life you're gonna might go to prison for cutting off and setting your own ding dong on fire. I don't know what you're going through. It just makes me mad because I don't know what you're going through that you would think that that's something you needed to do, and and then the rest of your life you're going to suffer without it. And I don't know. It makes me mad. It's a weird feeling I get. You just cringe, but it makes me mad.
I got you.
All right, let's go to Radcliffe, Kentucky. I don't know how I feel about this one either. So a Kentucky man faces felony charges after authorities say he failed to report his wife's death and kept her body inside their home for approximately 6 months using laundry detergent in an attempt to conceal the odor of decomposition. John Emmerich, 59, was arrested following a welfare check requested by his wife's niece, who had not heard from her Aunt Victoria, who is 61, since January. Deputies discovered Veronica's body on a couch in the living room covered with blankets. So she's been on the couch. Mm-hmm. Wow. So according to police, Emmerich told officers that his wife had passed away in February. He allegedly admitted to keeping her body in the home because, quote, he didn't want to be without her, end quote. And he had been sprinkling laundry detergent around and on the body to control the smell. He's been charged with abuse of a corpse. He remains in custody at the Hardin County, Kentucky Detention Center, and an autopsy is pending to determine the exact cause and date of Veronica's death.
How old was she? Or 60, he, rather?
He's 59. She's 61.
Man, he's 59. That's looks 89.
Rough 59.
Yeah, he looks really old. I don't even know what to say about that one.
Assuming he didn't kill her. Well, let's say that she just died of natural causes. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. In a way, like one millionth of my heart feels sorry for him because he didn't want to live without her. He didn't want to give her up. But the other millionth piece is like, ugh, gross.
I think he killed her. I mean, that's just a thought.
Why do you think that?
I mean, he had her there for 4 months. it seems like he was trying to hide the fact that she was dead to me. Yeah. It's just a thought.
It's interesting.
But we'll find out.
There was
maybe it was this dude is, because I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Okay?
That's not normal.
Absolutely crazy. And so maybe he's just crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised. Let me put it that way. If we find out she was strangled to death or something. Yeah,
that's crazy. Didn't one of the serial killers do that? Had his mother's body in the house. The one they just did the show on.
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, that's
think of it. Let us know next episode.
That's cuckoo cuckoo right there. It's kind of scary too that you could live with that.
Right. All right. Any final thoughts, Kelly?
Yeah, Jim. If I die, you got to let me go, bud. Please don't leave me in the studio and sprinkle detergent on me.
Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you in the studio and sprinkle whatever it was, Tide detergent.
I'm allergic to Tide. Even after death, don't do that.
We'll keep.
I'm a game girl.
Keep that in mind.
Okay.
Also, again, thoughts and prayers go out to all the family and friends and everybody that knew and loved the officers killed in the 2016 BR Baton Rouge police ambush, in which sheriff's deputies and BRPD officers were killed. Our thoughts are with you.
And we remember.
And for that, with that, we are finished with another episode. I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Kelly Jennings.
And we're your host of Crime
Wire
Weekly.
Overtime.